is an understanding of the higher forces that emanate from the sun and how the mind and the soul interact with them. So let's get back to the list of things inside sunlight. Another thing that's inside sunlight is called the evolutionary factor. The evolutionary factor was only added to sunlight by certain beings about 250,000 years ago. One of the reasons this factor was added, according to the teachings, is that human beings began to become somewhat lazy and cumbersome in their understanding of the universe. The evolutionary factor was added to make us curious about the universe. Another thing that's inside of the sun that doesn't really fit into our normal understanding of what comes from the sun are called mandalas, specifically divine mandala. Divine mandala are geometric forms. If you look at sunlight, one of the things you notice if you begin to look at it for a while is you begin to see geometric shapes. And these shapes don't really make any sense when you first begin to look at them. But there's been an exhaustive study of these shapes by a number of some of the deeper esoteric spiritual religions. And it shows that these shapes have a tremendous effect on the subconscious processes of the human mind. What do you think these shapes do? What's the purpose? Why would the universe, or why would the sun emanate this energy? Divine mandala in particular.
Is it a mandate, if you will, to get back in touch with the primordial source, basic ground?
That's good. That's close enough. Essentially, it's a way to guide us back toward enlightenment. It contains information in a very highly complex geometric form that leads the subconscious mind on sort of a journey through life so that people develop a hunger for reality, for understanding the deeper forces of reality. It's where our desire to know God comes from. There's one other force.
Okay, wait.
Yes.
I attended a very erudite conference on crop circles. Some MIT scientists were there. Mm-hmm. One guy had a theory. This is really exciting. Now you're talking about the geometric shapes. That he reproduced the flat crop circle by putting geometric shapes underneath a source of very powerful energy. It was, they don't know what. But the shapes placed that way underneath created the crop circle at the bottom.
So how do you think that happened? How do you think that happens?
It's in your theory, doesn't it?
Well, it's not my theory, actually.
This theory.
Yes.
Does it not? It fits in with the geometric shapes you're speaking of.
But why does that happen?
It sounds like the crop circles were a sign of some kind.
Or they were stored inside of the energy so that under certain circumstances you can reproduce them. Actually, one of the things that composes the human body are these divine mandala. Each of us has stored inside of us certain mandala that once you master them will enable you to do things that look like miracles. They're not really miracles, but when you understand what the mandala does, you can control certain forces like gravity or the force of light or other forces in the universe that are connected to that particular mandala. That's a different study, though. The fifth thing that's inside of it are universal forces. One of those universal forces is the X factor. All of that comes through sunlight. Early in my training, I didn't believe any of this. I didn't, like some of you probably look at that and say, well, that's not possible. Well, I've learned to say that impossible just takes a little bit of time. Because as we grow in our understanding of the universe, we begin to see that what we thought was impossible 100 years ago is sort of accomplished in a daily manner now. So let's look at the spiritual world and the path and to what we call physical